The age-old question of what happens after death is probably the only question no one has been able to answer with absolute certainty. Our fate after death is likely the basis of most religions. People live their lives a certain way because they directly link it with what becomes of them after they die. Current beliefs and past religions have ideas about the journey the soul must take before it finds eternal rest. One thing we do know is that all living things eventually die. There are likely thousands of theories about what happens once a person takes his last breath. Some claim to have died and returned, but were they ever really dead if they could come back? Death, by definition, is the end of life as we know it. So here are 5 interesting after-death theories that really stand out. Egyptian Duat. You can't speak about the afterlife without speaking about ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians did everything with flair. The royalty among them used their immense wealth and attention to detail to care for souls transitioning to the afterlife. They did such an excellent job that we have perfectly preserved bodies and artifacts that tells the stories of what they believe happens after someone dies. The Duat is where the souls of the dead go to be judged. Similar to the real world, the Duat has a variety of landscapes, including rivers, fields, mountains, and deserts. Residents in each of these places includes helpful deities, terrifying demons, and other dead humans. To get to the Hall of Judgment, a recently deceased soul's first responsibility was to make their way through these landscapes. The Egyptians believed that the more information you have about Duat, the better prepared you are to pass through. Many books were available for the Egyptians, but some information was only for the kings. The Egyptian sun god, Ra, was a popular character in the Duat books. Ra was said to bring light to the planet during the day by sailing his solar boat across the sky. He was also said to sail through the underworld at night, illuminating the underworld and the realm of the dead. The god Osiris, the ruler of the afterlife, is also a significant character in these books. Osiris, unlike Ra, does not wander. Instead, he sits on his throne in the Duat halls of judgment. Osiris is responsible for judging the souls of the dead. A weighing scale belonging to the god Anubis was used to determine if the soul lived a good life of goodness according to the laws or was evil. A person's heart is weighed against an ostrich feather. If it's balanced, the soul can dwell in the land of the dead peacefully. However, if the scale is unbalanced, the soul will be judged evil and the heart will be destroyed. Tibetan sky burials. When someone dies in Tibet, they are wrapped in a white cloth and kept in the house for 3 to 5 days. Monks will read scriptures onto the body to free it from any sins. All activity in the house will stop so the soul can peacefully prepare to transition to the afterlife. The deceased is then given a celestial burial. The burial master cuts up the body and takes it to a sacred location atop the frigid mountains. Vultures come down and feast on the corpse. It is believed that as the vultures fly up, they take the souls of the dead to the heaven, where they are prepared for reincarnation. No family members or strangers are allowed at the sky burial site. It's believed that their presence will negatively affect the ascension of the souls. The people of Tibet have had this practice for over 11,000 years for spiritual and practical reasons. The ground is frozen most of the year, making it very difficult to dig graves. The Tibetans are deeply connected with nature and don't believe in being extravagant. Providing a corpse to feed the vultures goes full circle. When the vultures eventually die, it decomposes on the earth and new life grows. The circle of life, if you will. Death is viewed more as a transition than an end because of reincarnation. They don't have an attachment to the physical body after death because the soul departs from the body immediately after a person dies. The Tibetans believe there should be no physical remains of the deceased after death, for the person's soul to have a smooth journey into their future life. The Wiccan afterlife. Wicca is a pagan belief system that takes its inspiration from the religions before Christianity came to Europe. It's considered modern-day witchcraft, and the members call themselves witches. They have a deep connection with nature and magic. The witches that practice Wicca has no scriptures, revelations, or doctrines that explains to them what happens when a person dies. There are a few varying beliefs in the Wiccan community. The most popular belief is reincarnation. Wiccans believe in cycles and that everything should come around full circle. Some Wiccans believe that you start as a low-order creature and that you get upgraded into a more spiritual being with each reincarnation. Other Wiccans believe that reincarnation only happens in the human form. There are also beliefs that you can choose the type of life you return to based on what you manifested in your previous life. Some Wiccans who believe in life after death believes that there is an additional realm of existence called the spirit world, which is hidden behind something called the veil, where the dead spirit rests and reunites with their loved ones. Although no one knows what it may look like, the term Summerland is a nickname for the spirit realm. Another popular belief is that the souls live on in the spirit sense once a human body dies. The soul is not bound by time or space and can travel to the future or visit the past as it seems fit. The soul can also choose to sleep and never wake up, sort of like dying again for the last time. Some souls will be earthbound due to unfinished business that they have with the living. They turn to ghosts who cannot move on to the next stage of existence. Wiccans acknowledge that some ghosts can be wicked and wish harm on people, usually due to some trauma they faced while living. Native American afterlife. Today, there are up to 574 Native American tribes and villages. Each tribe is distinct, with its own rich culture. Their beliefs of what happens in the afterlife also vary, but some key similarities connect them. Rituals such as painting the face of the deceased, dressing them up in full attire, or washing the body with yucca are all intended to best prepare the spirit for something called the walk-on. The Apache, Navajo, and other southwestern tribes believes that the ghosts of the dead resents those still living. They fear these ghosts and the possible harm they could inflict. The Navajo buries the dead quickly, and anyone who had contact with the corpse must go through a very long and expensive purification ritual. The Apache also quickly buries their dead and burns down the house and belongings of the deceased. Family members purify themselves and move to a new place to confuse their dead family member's ghost. The Pueblo Nation thought life after death is to be the same as life before death. They view spirits as neither good or bad, just souls existing. The Sioux tribe does not fear death. They reach out to the spirits of their loved ones and ancestors to advise them and look after them. Think of Grandma the Willow from Disney's Pocahontas, for example. And lastly, the Lakota tribe believes in a spirit world called the Wakan Tanka, where the dead never goes through pain or sorrow. For the Lakota, moving from this world to the next is not something to be mourned, but rather something to be celebrated. The afterlife in Scientology. Scientology was founded in 1954 by a man named Ron L. Hubbard. It was an international movement designed to study atypical human mentality and find ways to overcome them. The movement morphed into a religious institution called the Church of Scientology. Some people believe that Scientology is a cult due to its secretive nature and exclusivity. There has been many well-known celebrities that are or were church members. Among them is Tom Cruise, who was converted to Scientology by his wife at the time, Mimi Rogers. The controversy stirred when he gave the public a look into the world of Scientology when he interviewed Barbara Walters in 1992. Many people found the belief system strange and exciting because so little information was available at the time. Many of their beliefs about death are shrouded in secrecy. But now we are learning more from people who have left the church and decided to speak out. Scientologists believes that every person is an eternal spiritual being known as a Tibetan, and that our flesh bodies are only the physical forms we shed when we die. For instance, Sea Org members, also known as high-ranking officials in the church, sign contracts pledging 1 billion years of service across a series of lives. According to them, life just keeps on going and going. They believe the physical body loses all memory when it dies, except the painful memories in the subconscious mind. Before a person can move forward spiritually, they must go through something called spiritual counseling. The counseling process is called an auditing, when members are freed from the burdens of their past lives. Scientologists do not believe in reincarnation or karma. They think your soul continues to live on, and when it's no longer available, you get a new one. With all these variations about what the afterlife will be like, all we really know is that we know nothing. People have strong opinions about the afterlife because we need to believe there is something more when times get hard. We cope with the trauma when we lose loved ones by hoping they are in a better place. Belief is part of what makes us human. Maybe the afterlife is precisely what we believe it to be. One thing is for sure, each and every one of us will one day find out. What do you think the afterlife will be like? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching our Late Night Top 5 channel. We're a new channel and would love to have your support by subscribing, liking, or simply dropping a comment down below. To watch more interesting late night videos, click the links to continue watching more.